the coffee machine. Hello ladies and guys. Actually, it's probably very important for guys to watch this as well because not many guys understand period stuff. Welcome back to another video. I'm sorry I haven't put out a video in a while. I've been pretty busy at the moment, but I'm trying to get into it more regularly again, so hopefully you'll see some more content. Now, I got my period the other day, and that's what spurred me into thinking I need to make this video, and I think this every time I get my period, and then I never do. But this time I'm actually going to do it, and I'm going to talk about it. So I'm going to be talking about what I use for my period as a vegan and as someone who is conscious about their waste and their effect on the planet, as well as someone who's conscious about what's going into their body and the health risks and benefits of those. Now before I start, I just want to put out a quick disclaimer. I am not a medical professional, I'm not a doctor, I don't have a medical license of any sort, so if you are experiencing medical issues, you should go and see a naturopath or go and see a herbalist or a doctor, someone who is a professional in that field, so they can give you proper advice. This is just my own research and also my experiences and opinions. And also, let's try and all be adults here and not get grossed out by period stigma. Females get periods. It's how we are able to have babies. It's a very natural part of our body. Over the years, it's been stigmatized to be such a bad thing. Like in some religions and countries, you will have a child goddess. That child will then give up being a goddess when they get their first period because they're no longer pure. And it was often associated with the devil and all this crazy stuff. But we're in the 21st century now, so we do not need to be worrying ourselves with that. If periods are something that completely gross you out to the point where you feel sick, stop watching this video. There's no need to leave any period stigma related comments. This is for educational purposes for people who are wanting to know a little bit more. So up until about 6 months ago, I was using tampons and pads for my period, and it didn't really bother me that much. I never had massive issues with them. It was just what's considered normal. That's just what everyone gets taught. So I was very happy using those until my friend recommended me a product that I thought I should give it a try. I read lots of reviews on it and heard some really good opinions and said that it was kind of revolutionizing women and how they handle their periods, and I was like, this sounds like me, so why don't I give it a try? So now for my period I use a menstrual cup. So this is what a menstrual cup is. It's a silicone cup and you insert it into your vagina and it collects your menstrual blood, and then every few hours or so you empty it. Depending on what your flow is like, you can leave it in for longer or not. It is safe to leave in your body for up to 12 hours. Now that can freak people out and they're like, why would you want to leave something bloody in you for 12 hours? It's more for the case of if I feel like I'm going to get my period overnight and I don't want to use a pad. I don't use pads anymore, but I will just pop my cup in before I get my period, which is totally safe, and I am happy to leave it while I sleep throughout the night in case I get my period during the night. Or if it's on that last day of your period where you don't need to empty it as frequently, I can leave it in for 5 or 6 hours and I'm comfortable doing that, and then take it out and give it a wash and empty it and stuff. Now everyone's probably going to ask, how do you get a cup inside your vagina? So they all come with instructions, and there's instructional videos about how to use them, but basically you pinch it like this, fold it in half, and then you fold it like this in half again. And it folds down quite small, it's not really that big. And then you just insert it into your vagina and then it kind of pops open, and you just put your finger in and run it around the top and make sure that it's not sort of sitting like this or like pinched in on one side, like kind of weird or anything, and make sure it's against the top of your vagina. And then that usually does the trick. I mean, it takes a few times to get the hang of, but so did tampons and pads, so don't be discouraged by that. Pros and cons of the cup. So, pros. It is cheaper and environmentally friendly. Each cup lasts for about 3 to 5 years. So you rewash it over and over again, you keep it in a little bag, and it lasts for a very long time. So you're not using a single-use tampon or a pad that you're just gonna pop into the landfill after that. And you only have to buy one for those 3 to 5 years. And just for people wanting to know, this cup cost 50, I can't remember, 50 or 60 New Zealand dollars. I find them extremely comfortable. They feel like you're wearing a tampon. Like you can't feel anything at all once you get the hang of it and you insert it properly. I can do sports, I can go swimming, I can sleep comfortably with it, and I'm not feeling uncomfortable or I can't feel it inside me at all. Another pro is it feels cleaner in your body. I don't know why, but just using pads and tampons always felt kind of dirty for me, even though I wasn't that bothered because I didn't have another option. I just didn't really feel that great or that clean. So this feels really clean. You can wash it out, you can give it a good clean. It doesn't smell or anything like that. It feels a lot fresher. The amount of chemicals that go into a tampon and a pad really scared me. So I did some research, and there's so much that goes into manufacturing a tampon and a pad, even chemicals like a bleach, just to bleach the cotton that they're made from. That is going inside your body if it's a tampon, or it's sitting in your underwear if it's a pad, and your body is very, very capable, and it does so, absorb all those chemicals that have been put into those tampons and pads, and it's going straight into your system. I was like, I need something that isn't laden with chemicals that my body's going to absorb, which was the menstrual cup. The risk of TESS, which is toxic shock syndrome, which is a bacteria strain illness that can be very serious and can kill you in some cases. All it needs is the perfect breeding ground for the certain strain of bacteria, and when you're leaving tampons and pads, or pads in your underwear or tampons in your body for too long with the blood that's absorbed into them, it creates the perfect breeding ground for this bacteria, which then leads to TESS. And with a menstrual cup, you still have the risk of TESS, but it is so much lower because the cup isn't actually absorbing your vaginal bacteria, your vaginal fluid, or your menstrual blood. It's just holding it there, and everything else can still go around it. It's not porous, it doesn't absorb anything, and it doesn't create this breeding ground for bacteria in the same way that tampons and pads do. Your vaginal pH and the good bacteria stay in place. When you use a tampon, it absorbs all of the blood as well as your vaginal fluid, and your vaginal fluid there is to balance the bacteria and the pH of your vagina. So it's actually not that great for your body to be absorbing that and taking that away. So when you use a cup, because it doesn't absorb anything, it just collects the blood on the inside and leaves all the vaginal fluid and the good bacteria around your vagina that it needs, so it's not taking that away. Another pro is they come in heaps of different sizes. So the company I went for, I bought mine from a Whole Foods store. There was two sizes, one is smaller and for a lighter flow, and one's bigger for a heavier flow. But there are lots of different brands of cups, there's heaps online, and they do lots and lots and lots of different sizes and styles. Mine has a spike at the end. This is to help you pull it out when you first start using it. Some of them don't have one, some of them have a little ring, some of them are bigger, you can get them in different colors, and some of them the silicone is squishier and some of them it's more rigid. So there's lots of different styles that you can get, so do some research online about what style you think is going to be best for you. It is also easy to use. Now this varies, it's a pro and a con, because for me, I found it really easy to use. It took me one period to get used to it, and I've had a few like leaks and mishaps with it since then, but none recently. So once you learn how to use it, it's awesome and it's really, really easy to use. But that also becomes the first con, is that it can be really difficult for some people to get the hang of it. It might take you 4 or 5 cycles of your period to get the hang of using it. But what I say to people there who are struggling and getting discouraged from using a menstrual cup is tampons and pads were never easy and mess-free to start with either. There will be little mishaps, but as long as you're okay with that and you persevere, then it should work out really well. Second con is it is messier. You have to be okay seeing your own blood or handling blood to use one of these. Tampons and pads have that advantage of being easy, that you can just take them out, chuck them in the bin, you don't have to look at it. But with a menstrual cup, you either need to tip it down the toilet or down the sink, and you need to give it a rinse or wipe it out with toilet paper. So you do have to see your blood a little more. I'm not someone who's freaked out by that. I think it's a perfectly natural procedure for your body. Every month it's going to release blood. The first couple times you're like, whoa, and it's a little bit like a little bit in your face sometimes. Otherwise, there's not many other cons than that. Sometimes public bathrooms are a little bit awkward. I usually go into the disabled toilet. They have a hand basin in there usually, which means I don't have to do anything else. Otherwise, you can take a drink bottle with you and just rinse it out sort of into the toilet bowl. You can do that as well. So my menstrual cup is all I use for my period. I don't use any tampons or any pads anymore. I am fully committed to the cup life. So if you persevere enough and you get the hang of using a menstrual cup, I think it's really going to change the way you view your period. I don't know why I have this weird womanly sense bestowed in me since using a menstrual cup. Like, I feel a lot more comfortable with myself and with my period, and I don't feel like it's this time that I dread so much anymore. I really like a menstrual cup, and I recommend every woman should look into it, or at least give it a try at some point in their life. I hope everyone opened their mind a little bit and was enlightened to using a menstrual cup and is possibly going to do some more research and give it a try. Or not. I don't mind. The decision is up to you. Anyway, that's all for this video, and I will see you guys hopefully very soon in the next one. Bye!